Coaching. We're going to talk about neuroplasticity today and how important it is for a manifestation. Okay, now neuroplasticity, what is it? It's just your brain's ability to change and adapt, basically. Now, when you learn new things, you develop new neural pathways. Okay, so these are circuits in the brain that develop to accommodate what it is you're learning, basically. So, give you an example, and we talked about this the other day. My mother started painting when she was in her early 80s. Okay, now this was her way of developing new neural pathways. Now, it wasn't necessarily that she wanted to develop the new neural pathways. She wanted to learn how to paint. Okay, but in that process, new neural pathways were developed. Okay, so these are new circuits that the brain develops in order to accommodate the learning or in order to accommodate something new. So this is why as you get older, it's very important to keep learning new things, keep learning new skills, keep developing new skills, because your brain doesn't just get old. Okay, people are under this misconception. Okay, now I know that, you see a lot of people, they get old, they get degenerative. Okay, or let's say things start going wrong. Okay, you have to get that idea out of your head that things will go wrong just because you get older. Okay, this guy in the gym one day, I knew this guy in the gym. This gym I went to like 3 gyms ago, and I started going there when I was in my 30s, and I think right around 30, something like that, and right around 40, this guy was in his 50s. He was a lot older than me. And right around 40, he started telling me, he goes, well, he was talking about women. And he goes, once you hit 50, that stuff is over, right? He was talking to me about, relations, that kind of thing, right? We want to keep the life clean. And so I thought about it, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. Once you cross 50 years old, like you're done, And then I'm like, and right? So I thought about this. So if I would have listened to this guy, okay, because I am, a lot older now than 40, okay, and I'm still going, okay. So I don't know what his experience was, but this is a lesson for you guys, okay. So just remember that your experience is your experience. Whatever somebody else experiences is not going to be your experience. So if you see somebody suffering from poor health and they're falling apart, okay, that's not necessarily going to be your experience, okay? Because you have your own life path. You have your own, you have your own body. Your body is built differently, okay? So not everybody's the same, okay? So it doesn't mean necessarily at a certain age you fall apart. Don't believe that. If you put that in your subconscious, you will become weaker and weaker, and things will go wrong, and you will become sickly. Okay? Now, most of you guys have been with me since April. We've been doing this every day. Have you ever seen me sick so far? It's been 6 months. Not once. Not even a cold. Okay? Because I have it in my subconscious that I don't get sick. Okay? Now, do I get sick? Yeah, I get sick, of course. Okay? But it's been 6 months. Okay, the last time I kind of kept track of it, I think I get sick once a year. Okay, but I know people that are sick like every 3 or 4 weeks. They come down with the sniffles, or they're not feeling good, or that kind of thing, right? But what it is mindset. If you develop a positive mindset, it doesn't just work for money. It doesn't just work for your job. It works for your health. A positive mindset is really, really important for your health. Okay, so yeah, maybe once a year I get sick, but we've been doing the live every day for 6 months now. You haven't seen me sick yet, right? There you go. Okay, so and when I used to work at places, I used to subcontract to places where I'd have to show up every day, and I saw everybody else get sick. I didn't get sick, even though I was in the room with them. Okay, but that's what a positive mindset does. Good morning, guys. Good morning, lady. Wow, lady, you changed your picture. All right. Yeah, looking good. Hey, Cherry. Or Sherry. Sherry. Margie. Hey, Margie. Ellen. Good morning. Sylvia. Good morning. Isabella, good morning. Welcome to the live. So today we're going to talk about neuroplasticity and how important that is. So neuroplasticity, it's a big word, okay? It just means neural pathways in your brain that are being formed when you learn new things. Okay, so you learn a new hobby, new neural pathways are formed in your brain. That's neuroplasticity. It's your brain's ability to change and adapt. Okay, just think of it as rewiring itself. The brain rewiring itself to accommodate what it is you want to experience or what it is you want to do. Okay, and all you have to do is think it. Okay, when you practice something repeatedly, okay, the subconscious learns in repetition, and so does your brain. Okay, when you do it repeatedly, you experience new things, your brain starts to make those connections and it starts to rewire. Okay, and when I say rewire, that's figurative, but it forms new paths to accommodate what it is you're learning. Okay, it's very simple. It's easy to understand. A good guide to follow if you want to follow somebody who does this is Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton on YouTube. He's an expert on neuroplasticity. He's actually the godfather of it. He actually brought it to the forefront for people to learn and stuff like that. But what happens is these new connections help you improve your skills and adapt to changes. It also helps you recover from injuries. Okay, so people that have to use artificial limbs, people that have to adapt. Okay, because let's say they got in an accident, and their accident maybe they can't do certain things anymore, so they got to do other things to compensate. Okay, so that's where neuroplasticity comes into play, and new pathways are wired in the brain. Okay, so it's important, right? It's important to realize that you're not stuck with the brain you have. Okay, because no matter what happens, like some people get a stroke or they have strokes, right? And then when they recover, they have to do certain things a certain way because certain nerve endings don't work anymore, right? Certain muscles don't work anymore, right? But new neural pathways get formed because they use new muscles, or they do things a new way, or maybe some things that they were doing with their feet, they're doing with their hands now, whatever it is, okay? But you're not stuck with the same brain you were born with. You can improve your memory, okay? You can improve just about anything, okay? Just about anything. So like when you learn to play an instrument, like a musical instrument, you learn piano or guitar or something like that, right? New neural pathways are formed. Okay, so you can learn how to draw, you can learn how to do all kinds of stuff as you get older. And it's very important that you do this. Some people you see these old people at Apple, they're learning how to do iPhones and stuff. That's what they're doing. They're learning new processes. There was this lady, she was like in her 90s, I think she was 92. She was sitting next to me in the Apple store one day, learning how to do, iPhones. And I thought it was commendable. Because she was 92, right? And she's still out there, still active, still alert, still learning. Okay. Hey, Dallas. Hi, Dallas. How you doing? Good morning. Kiri, good morning. Millie, good morning. Try to catch everybody here. Costas, hey, long time no see, buddy. Thank you for joining us. So when you do these things, when you learn new things, when you learn new processes, it helps you. Okay, it helps your brain. Now, lifelong ability. Okay, everybody has lifelong ability. Okay, so it's not just for children. Okay, when kids are young, they learn all kinds of stuff. They learn foreign languages, whatever. Okay, so it's not just for children. It's for adults too. As you age, you can develop these skills. You can build new pathways. You can learn new processes. You can do a lot of stuff. Okay, like anything. Okay, now how does this apply to manifestation? How does this relate to like what we always talk about? The conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. How does that work? Well, it depends on what you're trying to manifest, right? So if you're trying to manifest something, the conscious mind makes the decision. The subconscious learns in repetition. Okay? Now that's the way neural pathways are formed. So in the repetition at the same time that the subconscious is learning, you're forming new neural pathways, okay, with whatever new things that you're learning, okay. And as you do this, these two things work together, Okay? So neuroplasticity happens as you're learning a new process. If that process goes into the subconscious at the same time, your subconscious is showing you confirmation of that. Okay? It shows you confirmation. The superconscious works with the subconscious. Okay, so the superconscious is God or the divine. It works with your subconscious, and now it starts bringing the right people into play. The right the right people, it also starts opening doors, but the right people come into play. You meet the right people. Have you ever had that happen to you? You have an idea, you want to work on this certain thing, you start working on it, you start taking the steps towards it, and you meet somebody, right? And they know about it, or they do it, or whatever, right? And it leads to something. So Costas has a question here. See all women as a divine mother and revere her such, and she will you as much as her child. No, that's not true, Costas. That's fairy tales. Okay, that's not true at all. Sorry. Um, you've been watching too many movies. All right, so too much Hallmark Channel. Okay, Costas, my buddy Costas over here. He's talking about women and revering women, and yeah. Anyway, different. Okay, so today we're talking about neuroplasticity. Now, how can you do this really easy? Okay, you can build puzzles. Puzzles is one thing. Okay, you can learn art, learn to draw, learn to paint. Okay, learn a musical instrument. Okay, all of these things help you to rewire your brain so that you have new skills. Okay, now here's another thing you can do. You can start writing with your left hand if you're right-handed. So if you're right-handed, you normally write with your right hand. Try with your left hand. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be hard. Okay, maybe the first thing you can do is brush your teeth with your left hand. That's a little easier. Okay, but switch it up, because you form new neural pathways in your brain. Okay, and you'd be surprised how that benefits you. Okay, most of all, it keeps you young. Okay, now even if you're not old, even if you're in your 20s, 30s, okay, try this. Okay, it's something new that will help your brain. Okay, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. That doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is you get better. What matters is that your brain starts firing new neurons to accommodate the new skills that you're starting to practice. Women don't want to be put on a pedestal by men, and if they do, then walk away. Yeah, because that's pressure. There you go. Ladies, can I get some hearts over there? There you go. Yeah, that's the truth of it, Costa. Sorry. Don't live in Cinderella stories. That's not good for you. It's not good for the woman either, actually. So what he's talking about, so we have 7 platforms going every morning, and so there's cameras over here. There's a camera here. There's a camera there. There's a camera up there, and we're on different platforms. Okay, so there's one multi-platform down here that serves 5 different outlets, and then there's a additional Facebook over there. My Facebook. How you guys doing? Good morning. And then TikTok's up here. I'm not going to go through all the platforms because we don't want to get limited by the algorithms. But anyway, so if you see me like talking over here, and then I talk over here, and then I talk over there, so I'm addressing different cameras. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about living your dreams today, okay? And why people, a lot of people give up on their dreams, okay? A lot of people give up, okay? And this starts early. So I want to say that you get conditioned, okay? Society conditions you for a lot of stuff. One of the things society conditions you against is living your dreams, okay? And the average person would go, what? Nobody told me not to live my dreams. Okay, well, here, let me take you back, okay? Let's go back to intermediate school. Let's go back to elementary school. Let's go back to 5th grade, okay? You know the dreams you had in 5th grade, right? 6th grade, you kind of have those dreams still kind of hanging on, right? Then you get to intermediate school, right? And then people are telling you, wow, yeah, it's different over here. This is a different vibe, right? Now you have to be more mature, okay? So what do? You start leaving a little bit of elementary school behind, right? That includes imagination. Now, Einstein said that imagination Right? Education will take you from A to Z. Imagination will take you everywhere. Okay? Now, imagination is very important to manifestation. If you don't have a good imagination, you need to develop it so that you can manifest well. Okay? Now, let me recap manifestation. It happens through your subconscious. It's not magic. It's not witchcraft. It's not any of that. Although it could be a part of it, okay? It can be if you're a witch, if you perform witchcraft, and then you manifest that. I mean, it is a part of it. But it's your subconscious, okay? It's really your subconscious. You don't have to do magic spells. You don't have to do weird stuff because you manifest whether you think so or not. You manifest whether you realize it or not. You manifest, it's not something to believe in. You don't have to believe in it, okay? It's not like God where you believe in God. It's not like that, okay? God designed you to manifest. And all it really is you do an action, you get a result. You do an action, you get a result. What we teach is how to install these programs in your subconscious, okay, so that you have control over the results. Because now you have control over the actions. Or let's say it another way. Now you know how to control yourself. Okay, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Those are the 4 pillars. And when you practice these 4 things, okay, and you do these 4 things all directed at one thing, it cannot not happen. It has to happen because of the way human beings are designed. Okay, so your brain, you live in a simulation. Okay, what am I talking about? Like a video game? Kind of, sort of. Okay, the brain takes in data, information from your eyes, from your ears, right? Everything you hear, everything you see, all of your senses, okay? So your subconscious is a culmination of all of your senses. It sends that data to your brain. Your data, based upon that data, your brain projects your life outward like this. So your life happens for you. Your life doesn't happen to you. You think things happen to you, okay? Because you see things going on out here, okay? But the kingdom is within. Jesus Christ told you, the kingdom is within. So everything is in here, okay? It's not out there. There is no out there. The only thing out there is nature and things from someone else is in here. Things that other people have invented, things that other people have created. Okay, buildings, right? The architects did that. Construction companies did that, but they were all people. Okay, we have some marvelous things out there. Okay, but then a lot of that, right? A lot of what we see out there, a lot of what we experience out there, everything out there is external from us. Okay, so everything God made is in here. Everything man made is out here. Okay, so it's important that you make the distinction between God-made and man-made. Your eyes look away from the kingdom. The kingdom is in here. Okay, but you look out there. You seek solutions out there. All the solutions are in here. All of them. Every single one of them. And this is what manifestation is about. Manifestation is about working from in here deliberately so that what transpires out here, what comes into the real world out here, is exactly what you put in here. You put the information in here. So affirmations, right? You write the affirmation. Here's the affirmation pen right here. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. So now, meditation, what do? 10 minutes of stillness. Just be still. Close your eyes. Be still. Then what? Then think about your affirmation, okay? You're going to get feelings, okay? Messages in the form of feelings, okay? And it will stimulate thought and you will start to think about the affirmation that you wrote. Okay, visualization, or let's take vocalization first. You have to speak it out loud. When you speak it out loud, it goes into your subconscious. Your subconscious hears you and recognizes you over everyone else. Okay, so you speak it out loud. Now, speaking also carries vibration. Okay, that's another topic altogether, vibration. But your subconscious hears you. Okay, the more you speak it, the more your subconscious takes it as a directive. Okay, now visualization. You have to visualize the confidence. Visualize the confidence. Okay, you also have to act as if. So a human being that pretends to be confident eventually becomes confident. A human being that pretends to be wealthy eventually becomes wealthy. A human being that pretends to be a good football player eventually becomes a good football player. And you see this. You see kids running around the elementary schoolyard. Okay, they're pretending a lot because they're young, and they pretend. Then they get into a football program. Then they learn how. Okay, but here's how visualization works in that respect. Athletes use it. Okay, NFL athletes, football players, professional football players use this technique. So they will watch the plays in a machine that plays video of the plays. And they will watch it over and over and over. And they will watch the character that represents them, that the position that they're going to play. And they watch the plays over and over and over. Guess what happens when they go to the practice field? They do it better. Why? Because they already have it in here. They have the plan. Okay? So if you plan, let's say this another way. If you plan your life out, okay, with the pen, this is more powerful than the sword. This is why they say the pen is more powerful than the sword. But if you plan your life out versus living a random life, what happens? Everything you plan starts to happen out here. Okay? Because your life path unfolds like this. Life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. The only reason you think life happens to you is because you see events that happen. You see somebody steal a car, somebody set a warehouse on fire, right? And you go, oh my God, right? Okay, you see those things. Now, can you attract those things? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Okay. But the other thing about it is this process, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization, actually raise your vibration. When you raise your vibration, you're not even around those people that are stealing. You're not even around those people that are doing those things. You may see it online, you may see it on the news, you may see it, but you're not even around those kind of people. I haven't seen those kind of people in my experience for years and years and years and years. Okay. But I spend a lot of time working. Okay, which is why my vibration is higher. And it depends what you apply yourself to, okay? But don't be afraid to write, okay, what you want. And let me show you what that looks like. So if you're writing what you want, it looks like this. Okay, this is all subconscious programming. This is what I'm talking about. You see the dates and stuff? Okay, these are affirmations. It's not journaling. These are affirmations. I have about like 12 of these in storage because I write them every day. Almost every day. Sometimes I miss a couple days, or sometimes, I miss one day, I catch up, that kind of thing. So, it's important to understand the difference between an intentional life where you write intentions and intentionally form your life versus living a random life. Okay? Now, living your dreams, right? What's living your dreams? Well, when I was 12 years old, I was told that I could live my dreams. And the people that were telling me these things were adults. Thank you, Dallas. And the things that they told me, they said, hey, you're really smart. You could live your dreams. They didn't tell me how. They just told me I could, right? And you know how some people were like, people talk bad to them or talk down to them when they were kids, like you'll never amount to anything, or whatever, that kind of thing. So some of those people, right, use that as motivation. whether they think so or not, because sometimes they get mad enough to prove that adult or whatever, that other person, wrong. So a lot of times it works like that, okay? But when I was small, when I was young, I was told the opposite. I was, wow, you're really smart. You're really smart. You could live your dreams. You could, whatever. But then it depended on like what my dreams were. Okay, so here's the first step. You have to figure out what your dreams are. Okay, I started making up my dreams as I went along. I had a few core dreams. One of them was entertainment. Okay, been there, done that. Okay, the other one was radio. Been there, done that. Okay, the other one was music. I have albums up. I'm still producing music on the side, part time. I'm teaching full time now. And then of course there was teaching, right? So I was always a teacher. A lot of people think I was an entertainer that became a teacher. It was the other way around. I was actually a teacher that became an entertainer. But it was a long process. It was a long process to get from zero to hero. Or, I'm not a hero, okay, in any sense of the word. But what I'm saying is get from zero to where you achieve your goal. Okay, that's really what I'm talking about. Now I have a family of service companies, but I started with one company. Okay, and we just did voiceovers and jingles and radio-oriented advertising material, that kind of stuff. That's what we did. And then we expanded that. Then we added a singing school. Then we kind of like morphed things around. We added a record label, and then we started modifying what we had and started, making it better and that kind of thing. Mask. Yesterday when I was meditating, you felt that you're the godfather of all the gods. Can you explain that? Yeah, that's your imagination. Okay. But you never know. you never really know, Mask. But yeah, that's imagination. But that's a good feeling. That actually internally reflects the fact that you have a certain a higher esteem of yourself, for sure. If you felt that you're the godfather of all the gods, then that's terrific self-esteem. That means you think highly of yourself. So that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. The only explanation is, yeah, when you're meditating like that, your imagination works. Okay, imagination is important. Okay, and I'll tell you why too. Because if you're manifesting something intentionally and you use your imagination, okay, it helps. Because many people don't ask enough. Okay, so most people when they ask for something, they're very humble in their asking. Okay, humble is not less than. A lot of people say, well, I'm going to be humble about it. And what they really mean is I'm going to ask small. Okay, so ask large, ask big. Because if you ask, for example, if you wrote an affirmation for $5,000 and you only got $1,000, you'd still be happy. So go big or go home. You were conscious and you opened your eyes and the light everywhere. Ah, okay. Well, that's a good experience. I would say that that's a positive experience for you. So have more of those experiences. Try again, see what happens. Try again, see what happens. Keep meditating. Okay, meditating is very important. A lot of people just pray. Okay, a lot of people just pray for stuff, and that's good. But praying or intention, right, is speaking to God. You have to listen as well. Meditating is tuning in and listening. Okay, so praying is speaking to God. Meditating is listening to God. Okay, there you go. So we're talking a little bit about living your dreams. Okay, part of the danger of not being able to live your dreams is being conditioned out of imagination. Okay, growing up, a lot of people do that, right? They go, oh, well, you gotta grow up, right? They tell you that in intermediate school. You gotta grow up. You're in intermediate school now. You get in high school, they go, hey, you have to grow up. You can't be immature like that. And you always hear those words in high school, immature. You can't be immature. Can't play around. You got to be serious. In that seriousness, you start to leave your dreams behind. Okay? Because when you're young, right? When somebody asks you, what do you want to be? You have an answer. You have an answer. When somebody's telling you to be more mature, when somebody's, telling you, well, that's a silly dream or whatever, okay, you start to second guess yourself. Why? Because somebody is inflicting judgment upon you. Human beings don't like judgment. We don't like judgment. We don't like when people judge us, especially women. Okay? Judgment is like kryptonite to women, like kryptonite is to Superman. Okay? Judgment is really bad. Okay? So what you should do in that case is ignore. Okay? I ignored a lot of people. I used to do voices, cartoon voices. I still do the voices. I don't do them anymore because I'm done with my entertainment phase of my life. But I did my voices right up into adulthood, and people were like, "Oh, something's wrong with Junior," that kind of thing. But no, I kept doing it. In fact, I went to this radio station. I used to work at this Hawaiian radio station, and this guy who is on television now, he's on television. He does feature shows on TV in Hawaii. And he was working at the radio station, and he kind of took me the wrong way, right? And he started looking, he didn't look at my voice as talent. He thought I was crazy, right? So he looked at it another way. Everybody has their own perception, okay? And with him, it got combative because he was starting to strike out at me because he thought I was crazy or something, right? So, it was really funny. For me, it was funny. For him, it wasn't funny. For him, it was like serious, like he was dealing with a crazy person, right? But the point of it is, if you have a skill or talent, okay, that is not commonly displayed by others, don't leave it behind, okay? You have the skill for a reason. You have the talent for a reason. You have your gifts for a reason. The kingdom is in here. God lives in here. Whatever talents you have, whatever skills you have, whatever gifts you have. Okay, I have a girl right now who does character voices. She's 17 years old. She just graduated high school. And she is gifted. She's not just talented, she's gifted. And I work with her every week to develop her gifts. Okay, but I know how to develop gifts really good because I have gifts. I have the same kinds of gifts. So I can help her, right? But the lesson is, okay, it's not really a lesson, but the point is, don't leave your talents and don't say, okay, I'm an adult now, I can't do that anymore. Don't do that. Don't do that, because I made a lot of money with character voices in my adult life. It started when I was, I don't know, maybe 7 years old, in front of the cartoons at home, Saturday morning cartoons, okay? Eating cereal, watching cartoons, and talking like the cartoons, just mimicking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when I got to adult life, I even have national awards. I have 2 national awards for different voices. I did a commercial for TGI Fridays. It was first runner-up in America, in the United States. And I forgot how many voices, I think 12 different voices on one commercial. So I did Looney Tunes characters, in the commercial. And I did like a bunch of them. So, but those things I did for money. I did agency work with those. I put them on, we did video soundtracks for certain things. I did character voices for television commercials, and there was this one church thing we did for a church. They hired me to do a character for one of their plays, or that kind of thing that they were recording. So don't leave those little things that you think that are weird. Okay, they're actually talents. They're actually gifts. So keep them going. You can make money from those things. Okay, God gave you certain things to take care of you. Okay, if He gave you a good voice, Maybe he gave you a natural talent for speaking. Okay, you can make money speaking. Okay, if he gave you the ability to do cartoon voices, you can make money doing animation. Okay, so no matter what, okay, it's not limited like the old days. There's more opportunities. Okay, so mask, and I started commanding the God of health, God of healing, and God of knowledge. What did you command them? I'm just, yeah, you started commanding them. I'm just curious of what you commanded them to do. That's interesting, though. So when you talk about living your dreams, so that's all I did since I was 12, is because adults were telling me you could live your dreams, you could live your dreams, and I started asking my uncle, who was my first mentor, my mom's youngest brother, and I would ask him, and he would tell me, he said, you can do anything you put your mind to. So I was like, oh, okay, you know. And I got into radio because I thought radio would get me into doing music and doing shows, and it did. It did. It took a long time. It took a very long time. For a long time, I was working for $5 an hour in the old days, in the 80s and 90s. Well, mostly 80s. In the 90s, I made more money, but in the 80s, yeah, it was rough. It was tough. Um, but that's the thing. You have to spend the time. You have to invest the time. Your time is your life, and you have to be willing to put your life into whatever it is you want to have success with. Okay, you're gonna have to really invest a lot of time, and your time is your life, basically. Okay, but yeah. So I'm not here to tell war stories, but I'm here to encourage you to live your dreams. So I started making decisions based upon living my dreams. I said, well, okay, is this part of what I'm interested in, part of my dreams or not? And if it wasn't, I didn't pursue it. So I pursued radio, television, stage, recordings. I have 9 albums and one single available on iTunes. Uh, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to flex. I'm here to tell you you can do it too. But those were my dreams. The consultant business became a dream because I went to a feng shui seminar, and the master said, "Well, you're good at this, and consulting, and whatever." So I started a consulting company, and it did well. It did very well. It's we're not doing that many consulting jobs right now, but we're doing a lot of digital infrastructure jobs. So our companies work together. I just want to mention a little bit about that. Bear with me, but you can do this too, and this might be an idea for you if you start your own business. So it's a good idea to get your company if you do multiple companies. Okay, and I did that because one company to me was not a challenge. I needed more, like a bigger challenge. So I decided to build a family of service companies, but our companies work together. Okay, so people come into the singing school, they develop their voice and confidence. Okay, and then when they have confidence, the question is, okay, what are you going to do with your confidence? The answer is life coaching. Because in the life coaching company, Here For You Life Coaching, that's what this live is about. Here For You Life Coaching, right? We help people find their purpose. We help people find, like, okay, what is it that makes me really, really happy? That I'm going to want to do this every day for a job, right? Because when you're really, really happy and you pursue something that excites you, it's not work. You don't have to work. That's the secret, really. I mean, if you enjoy what you do so much that you can't wait to get started, like this morning, I couldn't wait to get started. I went out, I did my 3 miles at the beach. I came back, and I couldn't wait to get on my live. Okay, I was sitting here watching the clock, waiting for the live to start. Okay, and then after this, I have clients till 4 p.m. All the way till 4 p.m. Actually, I have an in-person client. So that client happens from 5 to 6. So 6 o'clock, clients till 6. Not all in a row, but yeah, till 6 p.m. So this is a typical day for me. Okay, but when you're excited about these things, when you're excited to get to work, when you're excited to do what you do, when you love to do what you do, you don't work. It's not really work. It's more like fun. It's more like play. Okay? And I've made millions of dollars playing. I've made millions of dollars having fun. We had a wedding and party business, and on weekends we used to do, before COVID, before the before the you know before COVID hit, right? Before the pandemic, we were doing 5 shows a week. We did a show on Friday night. We did a party Saturday morning, Saturday evening, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and that's a lot of money. I mean, our shows were like $2,500 a piece. So, and that's a lot of money for one weekend. Okay, so when you're doing, you know, when you're doing 5 shows a weekend, that's a lot. You do the math. It was good money. Okay, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you're really tired after the fifth show, after the Sunday night show. Oh man, sometimes I just had to sleep all day on Monday because of the constant boom, 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 show like that, you know. But it was a good kind of tired. It wasn't work to me. It was not work. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then the pandemic happened, and I actually retired 1 year before the pandemic. Okay. But you can do stuff, based upon the things you love to do. You just need to figure out what it is. Figure out what it is you want to do, okay? And number two, how you want to do it, okay? You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. That's God's job. All you have to figure out is what you want to do and why. Figure out what you want to do, why, and then how are you going to do it? We did shows, we did family shows. That was the how part. We did family shows, and we did it at rec centers and ballrooms and hotels and that kind of thing. And so if you're doing, if you're doing maybe party rentals, then you're renting things for parties or whatever you do, making cakes for parties. Maybe you love to bake. Maybe you love to do that kind of thing. So I've had many people come to me to start businesses, and that's what we do with VMAC Consultants. Anyway, I'm not really here to push my companies or anything like that. I'm just here to give you ideas so that you can do things you love. When you do things that you love, you're not really working. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit before I go, a little bit about paradigm shift reversal. So you hear people talking about paradigm shift all the time, right? Yeah, you can contact me. Sure. Yep. All you got to do is message me. So yeah, if any of you want to contact me, you can write to me anytime on any of the platforms that you're on right now. Just message me, and I'll get your message. I'll return your message. So paradigm shift reversal. What's a paradigm shift, first of all? Well, you remember the subconscious tree? Okay, so the roots of the tree are your subconscious beliefs, which form your paradigm. So the paradigm is the body of the tree, okay? Now, the body of the tree, okay, gives away to the fruits. It influences the fruits or the actions. Okay, so what you believe forms the way you see the world. The way you see the world determines your attitude, okay? And then your actions. And your actions get results. So when you're changing something, okay, let's say you want to change the results in your life, you need to change the subconscious beliefs. When you change the subconscious beliefs, now you start influencing your paradigm or the way you see the world. So let's say you have some negative beliefs, and let's say those negative beliefs have you see the world negatively. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, I don't have very many negative beliefs, but let's say, for example, you have a negative belief like all rich people are crooked. Okay, that's a negative belief. Okay, and then now it goes into your paradigm, right? And maybe that belief influences the way you see the world, like you see all rich people crooked. Okay, and then your actions are based upon these beliefs. Your attitude influences your actions, and then your actions get results. Okay, so let's say you want to change that belief. Okay, start with affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that I see rich people as good people. Thank you. Now, when you write that enough, and you should write it every morning and speak it out loud every night before you go to bed. Okay, for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you will feel a shift, a minor shift. Okay, it takes 66 days to make a major paradigm shift. 66 days. If you repeat that process for 66 days, then you won't see rich people like that anymore. Okay? I'm just talking about that hypothetical, okay? So then you won't see rich people like that anymore. What happens to your paradigm? Your paradigm shifts. Your paradigm shifts. Now that you don't believe it anymore, your attitude has changed about it. Okay? And now that your attitude has changed about it, your actions reflect your attitude. And now you're getting better results than you did before. Okay? So that's the way it works. Now, what is a paradigm shift reversal? Okay, that happens when you don't maintain your current paradigm. Okay? So in neuroplasticity that we talked about earlier, right, you start forming new neural pathways based upon your new actions or your new beliefs in your subconscious. Now the brain starts to rewire and accommodate you for a new action or a new belief. Okay? So what happens with the pathway when you don't maintain it? When you don't provide maintenance? Okay, well, it takes a while. Okay? So it takes a while for that to happen. So the pathways are kind of weak at first because they're new. So what happens? You start defaulting back to the old paradigm. And that's paradigm shift reversal. It's a reverse of the process. That's all it is. It's a reverse of the process. So the point is, when you form this new paradigm, when you form the new belief, okay, that influences the paradigm, that shifts the paradigm, you have to be consistent. Consistency is all that's required. So keep writing about it, keep speaking about it, keep thinking about it, and it will reinforce the new paradigm. If not, then paradigm shift reversal happens. Okay? It's just because these networks that you form in your brain, these neural pathways, are new. And because they're new, if you leave them alone for a while, the old pathways take over again. That's all. So you take a shift for the positive, and if you leave that alone because it's a new process, it goes back to what's familiar. It goes back to what was. Okay, now that doesn't mean that your work is erased. It doesn't mean that. Okay, it means that you need to reinforce the new paradigm long enough for it to be solid. Okay, so 66 days is probably the most significant shift point. 66 days to start. But then you still have to write affirmations. That's what I do. That's what you see on the pad. You still have to write affirmations. Okay, you still have to do your meditation. You still have to do your visualization and vocalization to reinforce the new beliefs. Okay, so that the neural pathways will consistently be in use. If you're not using it, you're losing it. Okay, so it'll go back. But that's just a brief explanation. We'll get into it another time. But that's just a brief explanation of what happens when you're not consistent. So consistency is just doing it over and over and over. That's all. Okay, so let's say you want to maintain your weight. Let's say your ideal weight is 175 pounds. I am so happy and grateful now that I am 175 pounds. Thank you. So you'll want to write that every so often. After you arrive at that weight, after you stabilize at that weight, you're going to want to write it every so often. Okay? So maybe you write it, maybe every 2 weeks, you write an affirmation to that effect. That reinforces it. That keeps it going. That keeps it significant. That keeps it there. Okay? And then you avoid paradigm shift reversal. because, everything goes back to the old paradigm if you don't maintain it. But if you maintain it, what happens is the new neural pathways get solid. And when they get solid, you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to reinforce it as much. Now, how will you know that it's moving backwards? You'll know. You'll know. Okay? If you start eating more, if you start snacking more, okay, if you start doing these things, that means your subconscious is not issuing the proper commands. So you just need to rewrite. You just need to keep writing, okay? And you will influence the subconscious back into organization so that it becomes more organized and it starts working on those actions. That's all. These are just things to enforce the actions. So it's affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization to enforce something that you're trying to instill in the subconscious, a new program in the subconscious. Okay. So so I have that. Is there any questions? You guys want to ask questions? Hey Chris. Hey Millie. Hey D-double-G. Waverly. Hi Waverly. Is there any questions that you guys have about the subconscious? Any questions about paradigms? Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a big word, okay? But it's very, very simple, okay? It's just your brain's ability to adapt to new things. And when you learn a new process, or when you learn, let's say, how to play an instrument, when you learn how to paint, when you learn these things that require concentration, your brain will accommodate you by forming new neural pathways. That's basically what it is. Okay, so I have a client at 8 a.m., so I'm going to wrap it up if there's no further questions. Pilar, good morning. So, Memento, hey Bob. Good morning, you guys. So if there's no further questions, then, and also on the 15th, so on October 15th, we are going to switch our lives because I've been getting a lot of requests from people, especially on my Facebook, saying, hey, why don't you do an evening live? And we tried it this week. We tried it for a couple days, and it didn't pan out with my schedule. So what we're going to do is on October 15th, we're going to flip it, okay? Instead of 7 a.m. Hawaii time, we're going to be on 7 p.m. And we know we're going to lose some of you. We know that some of you are on the East Coast. And yeah, 7 p.m. over here is like crazy, right? So 7 p.m. over here is going to be like 1 a.m. on the East Coast. That's going to be a little crazy for people. We understand. But we're going to try to figure out how to do both. Or maybe we do so many days at night and then so many days in the morning. We're going to figure that out, okay? But we really appreciate you being here. The response has been really, really good, especially on TikTok. Thank you, TikTok. And but we're going to figure that out. But on the 15th, we're going to shift, and then we'll be on at 7 p.m. Hawaii time. And the people on my Facebook have been asking because they're going to work early in the morning. And on the weekends they do family things, so they're like, hey, can you do it in the evening? We watch your stuff, but we watch it in the evening. So we're gonna do that, okay, beginning October 15th. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna let our international feed go so I can get to my client at 8 a.m. It's 7.